Welcome to Programming KT. I am explaining about the concept is private methods inside interfaces. So this feature was introduced in Java 9. So when you are thinking about interface, you can write abstract methods only up to 1.7. I can say JDK. So up to 1.7, you can write only abstract methods. So from 1.8 onwards, you can write default and static methods, right? Default and static methods. So from 1.9 onwards, we can write private methods. So when we are thinking about private access specifier, so when we are declaring with either it may be method or variable, so that scope must be within the class, right? So within the class here in this case, we can declare method as private inside interface. So that scope must be within that interface. So if then method is having scope within that interface, we can't access outside of it, right? So then what is the use of these private methods inside interface? So these private methods are introduced so to provide some helper methods to default and static methods that was that exist inside interface. Either it may be default method or static method. If we want to write helper methods for these two, we can create private methods. So let me write an example, then you will get some clarity. So I am trying to build the logic like I will create an interface with util. So I will declare two util default methods with some common logic. Then I will eliminate the duplicate code. That code will be moved to private method. That private method acts as a helper method. Then you will get some clarity why private methods are introduced. Now let me try to declare an interface. Interface I am trying to provide name it as a util. So interface name is util. So inside this interface, I am trying to create two default methods. So first one is default method return type is void factors of. Here I am trying to provide name. Depending on your logic, you can provide it may be 4 or 5, whatever it may be. Moreover, that any logic you can build once you understand this. So I am trying to pass list as a parameter to get factors of 3. So from this, inside this default method, I am trying to build the logic to find factors of 3. So once I have list is available, I am trying to apply stream. So from that stream, I am trying to apply filter, intermediate operation. So filter is expecting predicate, right? I am trying to find all factors of 3 by using predicate. So if that number is divisible by 3, once we got reminder, then only we can say that is factor of 3. So finally, I am trying to convert it as a to list. So this is the logic part to find factors of 3. Let me declare one more method, one more default method. So I am trying to declare one more default method. Default void. So find odds. In this case, I am trying to provide different, different logic. Finding odds logic. Finding odds. Here also I am trying to pass list of integers. So now once I have list available, again I am trying to build the same logic, but predicate logic is different. Let me try to build that stream. Again I am applying filter, intermediate operation. From this predicate, how I can find odds? So if the number not divisible by 2, then that number we can call it as a odd number, right? So if the number that is not divisible by 2, then that is a odd number. I am trying to convert it as a list. So this is the logic to find all odd numbers. So if we can observe logic inside these two default methods, so only the difference is predicate implementation. So here and here. So remaining everything is remains same. So I have list of integers. Finally, I am converting to list. list of integers finally converting to list. So this one we can call it as a duplicate code, right? So if we can separate this function, I mean predicate, then remains same. So I will move this all, I mean finding logic, finding odds or finding factor of 3 into private method. I mean I can call it as a helper method. Then I will eliminate this duplicate code. So let me show you how I can do that. So I am trying to declare one private method, private helper method, private. So why? Because I don't want to expose this logic outside of the interface. That's why private methods are introduced. That logic must be accessible within that interface. That's why they declare private, they introduce private methods. Private, it will return list of integers. Next I can call it as a helper. Here I will serve function as a argument. So that function is predicate of integer, predication, I mean predicate of type integer, predicate second parameter is list. I am trying to eliminate the duplicate code from about two default methods. So now I can move this logic to inside this helper method. Like if I have list and predicate list, before that I can write it as a return, remove this return list dot stream. Then I am trying to apply filter. So filter, when I am trying to call this helper method, I will serve this function as an argument. Directly I can pass filter. At the time of calling, I will provide implementation of predicate. Then I am trying to convert it as a list. Convert and return it. So now this method I need to call here helper. So here I will write that implementation of predicate. I am trying to pass function as a argument. Predicate, this logic I am trying to pass. If that element is divisible by 2, then only we can call it as a odd number. Second parameter is list. Now this duplicate line of code, I mean, will be eliminated. So this is with the help of helper method. So same thing it will be applicable for factors of 3 also. We can remove this duplicate code. Directly we can call helper. I will pass function as an argument, this part. I am trying to find factors of 3. That number is divisible by 3. That function as an argument. I am trying to pass it as a parameter to helper method. Next one is list. So whatever we are passing to that method, right? Default method, factors of 3, we are trying to pass list, right? That list only we are trying to pass second parameter to helper method. So now this method, I mean this logic is not required. This logic is not required. So to provide helper methods to default methods, and moreover that if your methods are static also, you can provide private static as well. So depending on your requirement you can declare it may be normal private method or static private method. But so static methods we can't refer on inside non-static methods, right? In that case both must be static methods, either private static method instead of default static method. So I hope you got some clarity on so why private methods are introduced inside interfaces. So let me do code walkthrough about this. I mean this logic. Then you will get some clarity. Now I am trying to explain code walkthrough about previously I explained on whiteboard, right? Some logic. So that logic I am trying to explain with some code walkthrough. So I already create one class called interface private, I mean methods, and I created one interface called util. So same previously I explained, right? Same name I am taking. So next finding factors of 3 and finding add. I mean finding odds. These are the two default methods that exist inside util interface. So two methods are expecting list of integers. From that list of integers I am trying to build the logic. So this is the duplicate, I mean duplicate of code we need to eliminate. That's why I moved that code inside helper method. So that helper method is private. So I don't want to expose this logic outside of interface. That's why we can make it as a private. So that's why they introduced private methods inside interfaces. So once I create helper method, I am trying to pass function as the argument in both methods when I am trying to call that helper method. So this is the beauty of functional programming. We can serve function as the argument when you write the code in functional style. So I build the logic and I am trying to print the result. Let me try to execute the code. So I got the result. So these three are the factors of 3, and these are the, I mean, second result will be the odds from that given input list of integers. So this is I mean example about private and default methods. We can write private static methods as well. Let me try to build that one as well. So I'm trying to create one static method, static void. I'm trying to print the current date. I can declare method name as a print date. So it is, I mean, this method is not expecting any argument. So inside this, I am trying to call one helper method called get today date. So this is the private static helper method I need to build. Like how I previously I created private normal method, right? Like that private static method I am trying to create. Private static. So I am trying to serve local date. Local date is a return type of that method. Get date. Get today date. So I need to call here, right? So that's why I'm trying to declare method like that. Get today date. So from this method I am trying to return local date dot now. Now once I got the today date, I am trying to print it. So how we can call static methods by using class name, right? But static method here exists inside interface. That's why you can call by using interface name. Util dot static method name. Now let me try to execute. I got today's date. So this is the usage about private static methods inside interface. So I hope you got some clarity on why private methods are introduced inside interface. So if you like the content, hit on like button and subscribe Programming KT. Thanks for watching.